Hey crafters, welcome back to another Crafty Creations video with Kalisha. The wreath that I'll be making today will be a year-round wreath for one of my friends who doesn't really like to decorate, but she wanted something that was simple but had a bold color to it. First, we're going to start with cutting our mesh. I've decided to use this burlap and white mesh that I got from Michael's. It is a 10 by 10 inch mesh. I am going to do the Cruffle or Woodland Ruffle method, and I have decided to cut each of my strips at 30. I will be using this mesh plus an all white mesh, and you will need 12 of each meshes cut at 30 inches. Once you have completely cut all your deco mesh, you can place them to the side. Once again, you should have a total of 24 deco mesh pieces. That's 12 white and 12 of the burlap and white. To make our wreath frame base, I am using a 14-inch wreath frame. You will need a total of 24 pipe cleaners or chenille stems, whichever you call them. You are going to place 4 in each section of the wreath frame. You're going to place 2 on the second row and 2 on the third row, alternating them so that they look like one up, one down, one up, one down. And you're going to complete that going all the way around the wreath form. So there should be a total of 4 in each section, giving you a total of 24 pipe cleaners on your wreath base. I will say that if this looks like it could be too much for you, you can add them as you go. You don't have to place every one of them on there. You can just, as you make your Cruffle, add your pipe cleaner. And then just keep alternating from the second wire to the third wire until you're completely done with your wreath. Like I said, you don't have to place all of your chenille stems on at one time, if that's too much for you. Now let's get started on making our Cruffle. To make a Cruffle, all you have to do is roll one in like you're forming a curl 2 to 3 times. Take a clip and place it on there. Flip it around to the other side and roll that in 2 or 3 times, and then scrunch it up like you're doing a ruffle till you get to the opposite end. Remove the clip, and then you have what looks like a bow tie. And then you place it down on your chenille stem. I am going to alternate between the 2 colors, so I'll do a beige and white and then an all white one. You will continue to do that all the way around the wreath until you have completed it. And this is what it looks like when you're halfway done. So that was 3 sections that I have completed with the deco mesh, alternating the colors. Once you have completed that, then I'm going to show you the 2 ways that I like to do my pipe cleaners when I'm done and I don't need to use them. So the first way is you can pull all of your pipe cleaners towards the back of the wreath frame around the 2 wires. So put one around the second wire and one around the third wire. And then once you flip it over, you'll be able to twist tie them together. And then you just twist for a couple of them, and then you clip off the excess, fold it in half, and then push it back towards the front. And then that way you have a clean base. Now the other way that I do it is now, the other way that you can do this also that makes it look clean is you can just twist tie the pipe cleaners a couple of times in the front, snip it off the extra pipe cleaners, fold that in half, and then fold it again and push it towards the back. And then you can just continue to do that all the way around. So once again, all you have to do is twist it a couple of times, cut off the excess pipe cleaners, fold it in half, and then fold it again. Either method is a good method, and it will stop the pipe cleaner from scratching any surface that it will be placed on. Once you have completed your wreath base, you can move that to the side and we can get started on making our bow. For my bow, I have decided to use 4 different ribbons. The first being this chevron and burlap ribbon that I had. My tail is measuring at 8 inches, and then for my loops, I put them at 5 inches. Using my bow maker that I have, it has measurements on it, so I just took it to the 5-inch and then folded it back to make my loop. I did 2 loops for that ribbon, and then after that ribbon I used a burlap and white ribbon that I picked up from my local Dollar Tree. And I did the same thing with that ribbon. I made my tails at 8 inches and my loops at 5 inches. Then after adding that ribbon, I added this mesh ribbon that I also picked up from my local Dollar Tree. I did my tails at 8 inches and my loops at 5. And then after that, as you see to the right of me, I was going to add another chevron and white ribbon, but I didn't like the way that looked. So then I found a burlap and white striped ribbon that I had. So I then made, of course, my tail at 8 inches and my loops at 5 inches, doing 1 loop on each side. And then I placed the other bows that I did already back on top of that. After adding my ribbons back on top, I took a zip tie and I went around my bows or the loops, and then I kind of closed it up a little bit, but not all the way, because I wanted to add a pipe cleaner into there, because that is what I'm going to use to tie my bow down to my wreath. Once I have the pipe cleaner secured on there, I tighten up my zip tie just a little bit more, and then I start moving my ribbon around to see where I would like it. Once I figured out where I want my ribbon loops to be, I tightened up my zip tie and then I cut off the excess to it. Then to finish off the bow, I cut an extra piece of the burlap and navy chevron ribbon, and I folded it in half three times, and then I am going to use that for the center to cover up that pipe cleaner and zip tie that I placed in the middle. But first, we're going to move this bow to the side, and I am going to start on my sign for my wreath. As you can see, at the beginning, I had a sign that was black with a rose on it, but I didn't like that. I needed something that would match my bow. So I grabbed another hello sign that I got from Amazon, and I will leave that link in the description below. And I painted it a Admiral Blue from the Apple Barrel collection, because that was the darkest blue that I had that matched my chevron blue ribbon that I had. I completely painted the whole hello sign that color, and then once I was done painting it, I placed it to the side and I let it dry. And then I went back to finishing my bow. As I said earlier, I folded the piece into three, and then this is what it looked like once I folded it and glued it together so that I could have it wrap around my bow, the center of my bow, covering the zip tie. I then glued that around it. So I placed it on it and then I glued it to the back of the bow. Held it down until it was dry, and then I figured out where I would like to place this bow on my wreath. And then once I figured out where I would like it, I placed it to my wreath using the pipe cleaner that I added at the beginning, tied it down, and then I worked out my bow. Or fluffed, sorry, not worked, but fluffed. Once I had my bow placed where I liked it, I then took my tails and I did the dovetail for it, where all you do is take it, fold your ribbon in half, and cut up at an angle. And I did that to all three of the burlap ribbons, not the mesh ribbon, because there's no point in really cutting that, because you won't really be able to tail with it. So I did that to both sides of the ribbon, cutting it into a dovetail. Once I was done with my bow, I then took my hello sign and I decided where I wanted to place it. Once I figured out where I wanted to place it, I put my fingers where I needed to glue my pipe cleaners down to, because that is what I'm going to use to tie the hello sign to the wreath. To place your pipe cleaners on the hello sign, all you do is add a little glue to one of the letters. I did it on the H and one on the L, the last L. Sorry, it was out of frame. I thought I got it, but I didn't. You just hold it down until the glue is dry. Once the glue has dried, then you can move on to placing your hello sign onto your wreath. Once you've figured out where you would like to place your hello sign, just add it back to your wreath frame, sticking the pipe cleaners towards the back. Then all you have to do is flip it over and tie them down. And then don't tie them tightly, because you might want to turn it back around and look at it to make sure it's where you'd like it to be. If it's not, move it to where you would like it to be. If it is, tie it down, clip the ends off, fold it in half, and fold it again. Once you have everything added to your wreath, you can then flip it over and add a piece of jute twine to the back of it, and that is what you will use to hang your wreath on any surface, the door, the wall, wherever you choose. And this is our finished product. A beautiful year-round, everyday wreath with a pop of color. I love the way that blue pops on this neutral colored wreath. Thank you guys. Once again, it has been a pleasure, and I can't wait to craft with you guys again.